Have you ever found yourself wondering why some people effortlessly accumulate wealth while others, perhaps even yourself, struggle to make ends meet? What if the secret to wealth isn't about doing more, but about avoiding certain actions and mindsets? What if the path to riches isn't about accumulating more, but about letting go of what holds you back? What if I told you that the answers to these questions lie in an ancient philosophy known as Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to focus on self-control, fortitude, and wisdom? Would you be interested in learning more? Are you ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation? Are you prepared to challenge your beliefs, change your life, and perhaps change your financial future? Stoicism, a philosophy that dates to the 3rd century BC, might hold the answers. It's not just a philosophy, it's a way of life. It's about understanding the difference between what we can control and what we can't, and focusing our energy on the former. It's about developing resilience, practicing discipline, and cultivating a mindset of growth and abundance. So, are you ready to discover the things you should avoid if you want to be rich as guided by Stoic principles? Are you ready to let go of the habits and mindsets that are holding you back? Are you ready to embrace a new way of thinking? A new way of living that could lead you to the wealth you've always desired? If you are, then let's dive in. This journey won't be easy, but I promise you, it will be worth it. And who knows, by the end of this video, you might not only be on your way to becoming richer, but also wiser, more resilient, and more at peace with yourself and the world. So, are you ready to take the first step? Let's begin. Lesson 1. Avoid being a slave to your desires. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. In the pursuit of wealth, it's easy to become a slave to our desires. We're constantly bombarded with messages telling us we need more money, more possessions, more success. But is this constant striving for more truly making us richer? Or is it just chaining us to an endless cycle of desire and dissatisfaction? The first step towards true wealth, according to Stoic philosophy, is self-control. It's about understanding the difference between what we want and what we need. It's about learning to control our desires rather than letting them control us. Imagine for a moment that you're standing in front of a store window, looking at the latest gadget or fashion item. You feel a strong desire to own it. But do you really need it? Will it truly enrich your life? Or is it just a momentary craving that will soon be replaced by the desire for something else? The Stoics believe that the key to wealth is not to have more, but to want less. The less you desire, the richer you are. It's a radical idea, but one that has the power to transform our lives. When we learn to control our desires, we free ourselves from the chains of consumerism. We stop defining our worth by what we own and start defining it by who we are. We become richer not just in terms of money, but in terms of character, contentment, and peace of mind. So, the next time you feel the pull of desire, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I just a slave to my desires? Remember the words of Epicurus. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. And realize that the path to true wealth starts with self-control. Lesson 2. Avoid neglecting the present moment. Remember that man lives only in the present. In this fleeting instant, all the rest of his life is either past and gone or not yet revealed. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to lose sight of the present moment. We're often so caught up in our past regrets and future anxieties that we forget to live in the now. But what if I told you that the key to true wealth lies in the present moment? The present moment is all we truly have. It's a fleeting instant that's here one moment and gone the next. But it's also where life happens. It's where we make decisions, take action, and shape our destiny. By focusing on the present moment, we can make the most of our resources and opportunities. But how do we stay present in a world that's constantly pulling us towards the past and the future? The Stoics had a solution. They believed in the power of mindfulness, the practice of being fully engaged in the present moment. They saw it as a way to free ourselves from the chains of the past and the uncertainties of the future. When we're mindful, we're not just aware of what's happening around us, but also what's happening within us. We become observers of our own thoughts and emotions, able to respond to life's challenges with clarity and wisdom. So, The next time you find yourself dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, take a deep breath. Bring your attention back to the present moment. Notice the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. Remember that man lives only in the present. In this fleeting instant, all the rest of his life is either past and gone or not yet revealed. And realize that the path to true wealth starts with the present moment. Lesson 3. Avoid letting emotions control you. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Emotions are a fundamental part of our human experience. They color our world, influence our perceptions, and often drive our actions. But what happens when our emotions start to control us? What happens when our fear, anger, or desire start to dictate our decisions? Is this not a form of slavery? The Stoics believe that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. But this freedom isn't just about external circumstances, it's about inner freedom. The ability to remain calm and composed regardless of what's happening around us. It's about learning to observe our emotions without letting them control us. But how do we achieve this inner freedom? How do we learn to master our emotions instead of being mastered by them? The first step is awareness. We need to become aware of our emotions, to recognize them when they arise. Instead of reacting impulsively to an emotion, we pause, we observe, we notice the emotion without getting caught up in it. The second step is understanding. We need to understand why the emotion has arisen, what has triggered it. Is it based on something real, or is it just a product of our imagination? The third step is acceptance. We need to accept our emotions as natural human responses. We don't judge them or try to suppress them. We simply acknowledge them and let them be. The final step is action. Instead of letting our emotions dictate our actions, we choose our actions based on reason and wisdom. We act not out of fear, anger, or desire, but out of understanding, compassion, and love. Remember the words of Epicurus. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control, and realize that the path to true wealth starts with mastering our emotions. Lesson 4. Avoid ignoring the power of reason. Man is affected not by events, but by the view he takes of them. In our journey through life, we often find ourselves at the mercy of our perceptions. We react to events, people, and situations based on how we perceive them. But what if our perceptions are skewed? What if they're not based on reality but on our biases, fears, or misconceptions? The Stoics believe that our perception shapes our reality. They argued that it's not the events themselves that affect us, but the view we take of them. This is where the power of reason comes in. Reason, according to the Stoics, is the tool we use to perceive situations objectively and make sound decisions. It's the compass that guides us through the stormy seas of life, helping us navigate challenges with wisdom and serenity. But how do we harness the power of reason? How do we ensure that our perceptions are based on reality, not on our subjective biases or emotions? The first step is awareness. We need to become aware of our perceptions and question them. Are they based on facts, or are they influenced by our emotions, biases, or past experiences? The second step is critical thinking. We need to analyze the situation objectively, gather all the facts, and weigh the pros and cons. We need to ask ourselves, what's the most rational course of action? The third step is courage. We need to have the courage to act on our reasoned judgments, even if they go against our emotions or societal expectations. Remember the words of Epicurus, man is affected not by events, but by the view he takes of them, and realize that the path to true wealth starts with harnessing the power of reason. Lesson 5. Avoid seeking approval. I care not so much what I am to others as what I am to myself. In our quest for acceptance and belonging, we often find ourselves seeking approval from others. We crave their validation, their admiration, their applause. But what happens when we start living our lives for others? What happens when our self-worth becomes tied to their approval? The Stoics warned against this trap. They believed that true wealth comes from approving of yourself, not from seeking the approval of others. They argued that we should care not so much about what we are to others, but what we are to ourselves. But how do we break free from the need for approval? How do we learn to validate ourselves? The first step is self-awareness. We need to recognize when we're seeking approval and understand why. Is it because we're insecure? Because we're afraid of rejection? Because we're trying to fit in? The second step is self-acceptance. We need to accept ourselves as we are, with all our strengths and weaknesses. We need to realize that we're enough just as we are. The third step is self-improvement. Instead of trying to be what others want us to be, we should strive to become the best version of ourselves. We should focus on our personal growth and development, not on pleasing others. Remember the words of Michel de Montaigne, "I care not so much what I am to others as what I am to myself," and realize that the path to true wealth starts with self-approval. Lesson 6. Avoid neglecting your virtues. Virtue is the sole good. In our pursuit of wealth, we often equate richness with material possessions. We measure success by the size of our bank accounts, the brand of our cars, or the square footage of our homes. But is this the true measure of wealth? What about the virtues that define our character and guide our actions? The Stoics believed that virtue is the sole good. They argued that wealth isn't just about money. It's about being rich in virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. It's about cultivating a character that is resilient, ethical, and balanced. But how do we cultivate these virtues? How do we ensure that our pursuit of wealth doesn't lead us to neglect our virtues? The first step is self-reflection. We need to take a hard look at ourselves and ask, what are my virtues? What values do I hold dear? Am I living in alignment with these virtues and values? The second step is self-discipline. Cultivating virtues requires discipline. It's about making the right choices even when they're hard. It's about standing up for what's right even when it's unpopular. The third step is perseverance. Cultivating virtues is a lifelong journey. It's not about being perfect, but about striving to be better. It's about learning from our mistakes and growing from our failures. Remember the words of Seneca, "Virtue is the sole good," and realize that the path to true wealth starts with cultivating your virtues. Lesson 7. Avoid forgetting your mortality. Let each thing you would do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person. In the grand scheme of life, we often forget a fundamental truth, our mortality. We get so caught up in the pursuit of wealth, success, and pleasure that we forget the inevitability of our own end. But what if remembering our mortality could be the key to a richer, more fulfilling life? The Stoics believed that remembering our mortality puts everything in perspective. It reminds us of the fleeting nature of life and the impermanence of all things. It urges us to focus on what truly matters and to live each day as if it were our last. But how do we keep this awareness of our mortality without falling into despair or fear? How do we use it as a tool for living a richer life? The first step is acceptance. We need to accept our mortality, not as a source of fear, but as a fact of life. It's not something to be feared, but something to be acknowledged. The second step is perspective. Remembering our mortality helps us see the bigger picture. It helps us realize that many of the things we worry about are trivial in the grand scheme of things. It helps us prioritize what truly matters. The third step is action. With the awareness of our mortality, we're motivated to make the most of each day. We're driven to live authentically, to pursue our passions, and to make a positive impact on the world. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Let each thing you would do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person," and realize that the path to true wealth starts with remembering our mortality. Lesson 8. Avoid impulsive decisions. First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. This profound statement serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of thoughtful deliberation before action. In our fast-paced world, it's all too easy to make snap judgments and impulsive decisions. However, these hasty choices often lead to regret and can steer us away from our path to wealth and success. So, what should we do instead? The answer lies in the practice of mindfulness and self-control, two core tenets of Stoicism. Before making a decision, take a moment to pause and breathe. Reflect on your options and consider the potential consequences of your actions. Ask yourself, does this choice align with my long-term goals? Will it bring me closer to the wealth and success I desire? Or will it merely provide temporary satisfaction at the expense of my future prosperity? Remember, every decision, no matter how small, can have a significant impact on your life's trajectory. By avoiding impulsive decisions and practicing thoughtful deliberation, you can ensure that each choice you make propels you further along your path to wealth. As you cultivate this habit of mindful decision-making, you'll find that not only will you avoid potential pitfalls, but you'll also gain a deeper understanding of your values and goals, bringing you one step closer to the rich life you aspire to. Lesson 9. Avoid dishonesty. Honesty is more than just refraining from lying. It is about truth-telling, truth-speaking, truth-living, and truth-loving. This powerful statement underscores the importance of honesty in our pursuit of wealth and success. But why is honesty so crucial? Stoicism teaches us that virtue is the highest good, and honesty is one of the cardinal virtues. It is the foundation upon which trust is built and relationships are formed. Without honesty, we risk losing not only the trust of others but also our self-respect and integrity. Moreover, dishonesty often leads to a vicious cycle of lies and deceit. One lie leads to another, creating a web of deception that can be difficult to escape from. This not only harms our relationships with others, but also hinders our personal growth and development. On the other hand, by being honest, we foster transparency and openness, which can lead to better understanding and cooperation. Furthermore, honesty plays a crucial role in our financial decisions. Dishonest financial practices may lead to short-term gains, but they often result in long-term losses. They can damage our reputation, lead to legal consequences, and ultimately hinder our path to wealth. On the contrary, honest financial practices, such as fair dealing and transparency, not only build trust, but also contribute to sustainable wealth creation. In conclusion, avoiding dishonesty is not just about refraining from lying. It's about embracing truth in all its forms, in our words, in our actions, and in our lives. It's about aligning our actions with our values and maintaining our integrity even when faced with difficult choices. By doing so, we pave the way for wealth and success and lead a life of virtue and fulfillment as guided by the principles of Stoicism. Lesson 10. Avoid materialism. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This profound statement challenges our conventional understanding of wealth. In a world that often equates wealth with material possessions, Stoicism invites us to redefine wealth, not by what we have, but by what we can live without. Materialism, the excessive desire for and importance placed on material possessions, can often lead us astray from the path to true wealth. It can create a never-ending cycle of desire and dissatisfaction, where each new acquisition only fuels the desire for more. This is contrary to the Stoic principle of self-control and contentment. Stoicism teaches us to find contentment in simplicity and to value the richness of our inner world over the wealth of material possessions. After all, material possessions are transient and can be lost, but our virtues and wisdom are ours to keep. Moreover, by reducing our wants and desires, we free ourselves from the constant pursuit of material possessions and the anxieties that come with it. We free up time, energy, and resources that can be better used to enrich our lives and the lives of others. We also cultivate a sense of gratitude for what we already have, which is a form of wealth. Furthermore, avoiding materialism does not mean rejecting material possessions altogether. It means being mindful of our desires, making conscious choices about what we acquire, and finding joy and satisfaction in what we have, rather than constantly longing for more. In conclusion, avoiding materialism is about shifting our focus from having to being, from acquiring to experiencing, and from possessing to appreciating. It's about finding wealth in simplicity, contentment, and inner growth. So let us heed the wisdom of Epicurus and remember that true wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. For in the end, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. Lesson 11. Avoid quick riches. The allure of quick riches can be enticing, but wealth gained hastily will dwindle, whereas whoever gathers little by little will increase it. This profound statement underscores the importance of patience and perseverance in the pursuit of wealth. But why does wealth gained hastily dwindle? To understand this, we need to delve deeper into the nature of wealth and the process of wealth creation. Wealth is not just about having money or possessions. It's about having the knowledge, skills, and wisdom to manage and grow that wealth. When wealth is gained hastily without the requisite knowledge and skills, it's often mismanaged or squandered. On the other hand, wealth that is gathered little by little through hard work and smart decisions tends to increase. This is because the process of slowly accumulating wealth also involves acquiring the necessary knowledge and skills to manage and grow that wealth. It involves learning from mistakes, adapting to changes, and making informed decisions. Moreover, the pursuit of quick riches often leads to stress, anxiety, and a host of other problems. It can lead to unethical decisions, strained relationships, and even legal troubles. On the contrary, the path of patience and perseverance leads to peace of mind, personal growth, and sustainable wealth. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us that patience is not just about waiting. It's about maintaining a positive attitude and staying focused on our goals, even when progress seems slow. It's about understanding that good things take time and that the journey is just as important as the destination. In conclusion, avoiding quick riches and practicing patience is not just about financial success. It's about personal growth, peace of mind, and living in accordance with Stoic principles. So let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics and strive to gather wealth little by little, with patience and perseverance. For as Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Lesson 12. Avoid fear of failure. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." This profound statement encourages us to embrace life fully without the fear of failure or the end. It's a call to action, a reminder that life is meant to be lived, not feared. Fear of failure is a common obstacle that many of us face. It's a fear that can paralyze us, prevent us from taking risks, and keep us from reaching our full potential. But according to Stoicism, this fear is not only unnecessary, it's detrimental. It holds us back from truly living and achieving greatness. So how can we overcome this fear? The answer lies in changing our perspective on failure. Instead of viewing failure as a negative outcome to be avoided at all costs, we should see it as a stepping stone to success. Every failure brings with it valuable lessons and experiences that can help us grow and improve. It's an opportunity for learning and growth, a chance to become stronger and wiser. Seneca also reminds us that fearing failure is like fearing death. It's inevitable and a part of life. Just as we cannot avoid death, we cannot avoid failure, but we can choose how we respond to it. We can let it defeat us, or we can use it as a catalyst for growth and improvement. So, if you want to be rich in the truest sense of the word, do not fear failure. Embrace it, learn from it, grow from it. Remember, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. This is the Stoic way. This is the path to wealth and prosperity. As we reach the end of our journey through the principles of Stoicism, I hope you've gained valuable insights into the mindset and habits that can lead to true wealth and prosperity.